Hello and welcome. I'm Sound Shaman, and today we're going to be doing a little reflection on mental health. I recognize it's a very broad and sometimes distressing category of discussion, but there's never any downside to listening. Either you learn something or you refortify what you already know and what you've already known. You can't really lose when you open up a little bit. And not to other people, I'm not saying to other people, but when you make your mind available to different ideas, different approaches, you can't lose. Either it will prove what you've been doing is right, and you know what's better for you than what others say, or it will put you in a better place. So, I want you all to take this with an open mind as we reflect upon some of the loneliness, some of the suffering, and some of the darkness that a lot of us share in our day-to-day lives. No matter what you may lose or gain from this, you must remember that you are the pilot. You are in control. Sure, people might have manipulated you, might have hurt you, might have even made you feel like you are to blame for the suffering that you feel. But how can you be expected to go through life flawlessly, especially when you put your trust in so many people? One can't be blamed for returning to this reliance. You know what the alternative is. It's a sense of loneliness. It's isolation that some thrive on and some don't. But the world pushes you into a corner when you are faced with the choice of isolation or turning back to those who you might not entirely trust. Sometimes being with oneself, it's lonely, clearly. But being with oneself, it gives you an opportunity to truly reflect on what you need, what you want. And I know that is kind of taken for credit as a simple byproduct of just living. Of course, you know, or you think you know, or people tell you know what's best for you. But the sadness and the isolation that being alone can have on you can be a constructive thing. And this is not endorsing this is not endorsing the living of oneself separate from the world. In fact, that's the opposite of what I endorse. That's coming from an extrovert, and I recognize that everybody is different. Everybody has different approaches to this. Especially if the world has wounded you. You must take it upon yourself to know it better. Not in a cynical way, not in a thorny way of, oh, well, I know that the world hurt me and therefore I will never reach out again. but more of, I want to learn so that I can avoid this pain that I'm feeling right now, so I can avoid this poison. Learning is never a bad thing. As mentioned prior, you either learn something new, or you can be emboldened within the fact that you know what was best and you knew what was best. And this is not saying to not continue exploring, not continue learning. Take a moment to forget the next step. Forget the norm that there must be something to do next. Because when you give a process steps, you also give it the opportunity to fail. I can't stress enough, this is not saying do not put effort into your betterment. This is saying the second that you say this is the first step, it comes with implications. It comes with this can fail. It comes with there will be 100 more steps. It comes with this is the first step and I am already behind. But that's not true. The current state you are in, you are the pilot. You have the ability to move beyond this. I'm not going to pretend to know what that takes in your individual case. But that's why it should be encouraged, this sense of self-learning within this painful, cold isolation. Figure out what you truly need. And then figure out what it's going to take to get there. Don't figure out the next step. Find the end point. Anything is possible. Sure, it's a pretty cheesy saying, but if you think about it, anything really is possible. It's just what approach you're going to take to get it. You can get to the moon next week, but you're going to have to hijack, a space shuttle or hold someone hostage or fill in the blank, some immoral thing that, we're just told we can't do or we shouldn't do. I mean, with relatively good reason. But the point is, take time to view different approaches. Because when you isolate your approach to a singularity, a single possibility, you also invest all of your awareness into only that one point, only that one next step. And why should you think otherwise? It's what we've been taught since we were children. We were always taught, but what's your next step? What's your plan? What are you going to do in 10 years? Perhaps this is echoing the simple and often overused take it one step at a time. And when I say that, I genuinely mean one step at a time. And I know I said shouldn't isolate it to steps, but just figure of speech. Stay with me. Down to the very point of, what do you do next after this video? Heck, If you think what's best for you is clicking off of this or going to bed, maybe making some food, staying hydrated, showering up, then by all means. Because when you invest in your own self-betterment, how can you argue against that? And that's not saying live a selfish life where you are the center of the universe. Because you're not. None of us are. If we were, then we would not be human. We are beyond flesh. The spirits that live within us still need love, need care. We are made of cells and matter, but the reason that we are not all identical in mannerisms and actions and even personality is because we are imbued with a spirit. I hold myself back from saying it's imbued by God because I know that that's kind of a turn-off to some people, sadly. But I also recognize that other people just simply have different views. And when I say that your betterment should be preserved, your comfort should be preserved, who you are takes precedent over any prerogative that I think within myself. When someone says, I want what's best for you, it's often distressing. And there's an immediate doubt that they don't know what's best for you, even if they want what's best for you. And often that's true. And I'm not gonna endorse that. I'm not gonna say, oh, well, this is the way, and if you don't follow it, then you don't know what's good for you. Because that's what we've been told since we were kids. So many sit quietly, lonely. They yearn for a bigger world. They yearn for, interaction. But it's so hard when the world has felt so poisonous to you. And who can blame you? Who can blame you for not wanting to hold a metaphorically thorny rose just because everyone else is? Just because everyone's got gloves on? No. You have it within you to move beyond this, to move beyond the pain you feel. That doesn't mean you don't give it space. It's a process, and it takes energy, and sometimes it is painful. But if it means figuring out what's required at the cost of the discomfort that isolation brings, then why would you starve yourself of that? Turn something horrible and painful into something that you can use. The world has given you every reason to slow down, to stagnate, to rot. But the spirit within you wants more. Not because it's greedy, but because it's just how we are. It's literally human nature paired with something otherworldly that sometimes I don't even know if I'm putting my finger on it right. Because you feel pain shows this. This isolation would not be painful if love and care were not so desperately needed. We all live our life one step at a time. Sure, there are periods that don't go how we want. But we can't be blamed, and we can't blame ourselves for trying to find peace and love within the lives that we live. Take the time you need to recover. The world can wait. I say recovery. I don't say sitting still. I don't say stagnating. Heck, I don't even say relaxation. Take the time that you need in your life to figure out what else you do need. You know what you need now. You feel such a keen sense of doubt. But sometimes when you look for what else there is, when you look beyond just the pain, you might find something. I don't believe in lying. I don't believe in guarantees, unless they're divine, but even then I'll keep that to myself. I can't say for sure when this will stop. But I can try my best to help you see within you what to do next. Not what step to take. What to do next, because I don't know. Who you are dictates how you respond to the world around you. It's just the way it is. Why should I give instruction if I am not the person who which it will affect, whose vessel it'll pilot? No. There have been many times in my personal life that I have had to keep people from entirely giving up on the entire rat race of human society, the world, even just living. Never will I ever say that I knew what was best for them. But the one thing I will say for certain is nothing gets better when you don't give it an opportunity to get better. Some of you might be thinking, well, you've given it years of an opportunity to get better, you've given it decades. And to that I say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I hesitate giving advice, but I will always encourage trying to figure out what else you enjoy as a person. What's good for the body, mind, spirit, fill in the blank. It can even be something as simple as just starting to think about redecorating a room. And I know that's very, sometimes materialistic, but doing things adjacent to actual hobbies, to actual careers, to actual interests often yields an appreciation of what you do enjoy more, or it shows you something else that you enjoy more than anything that you have prior. And there's so much in the world. There is a lot of pain, but there are so many opportunities to feel everything but that dullness, that pain, that apathy. I want to leave you with this. There's always another day. Unless you're living to 5.5 billion years, you don't have to worry about Earth imploding. Take it a day at a time, not a step. Don't make it a step. Take it as it comes. Revector. Who should order the pilot of your vessel around except you? I hope this can provide insight. I hope this can provide peace. And I hope to those who are in lack of faith, this can possibly lead to something more for yourself. Thank you, and good night.